What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name's Mike. I'm from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. I'm joined by one guy that does nothing but work, and I'm joined by another guy that apparently does nothing but not work. They are, of course, Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, guys?
I've been working like a dog. Nothing but work. Work for me.
You're at work right now. That's why the background's different, right?
Yeah. Where are you?
I must be in the office right now. Hold on. Let me see if I can show you where my office is today. Just out there. This is stone's throw from the beach. Nothing major.
Nothing major, yeah.
Nothing major.
Nothing new for Joe, world traveler up there. Thankfully, apparently his Wi-Fi connection is a little better on this trip than when he came home a couple weeks ago. So
I blame Central PA for that.
You're probably right on that one.
Right.
But I am on vacation.
Oh, so what is that?
Dr. Dank. This is Wicked Weed Brewery. And this is a Pineapple Dream IPA. So I'm going to crack this sucker open. I mean, it's like we're recording at 10:45 in the morning. I'm going to crack open like a breakfasty type. I mean, it's juice, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I'm on vacation. I can't drink alone.
Yeah, I've got something just here, but this is not as fancy. This is just the champagne of beers.
That's champagne of beers.
Champagne of beers. So I'm gonna join you for that. Cheers.
Wow.
Happy vacation. Happy vacation, Joe.
Wow.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, if there's ever been anything to symbolize the difference between you two, I think it was the holding up of the beers right there. Yeah. Oh, EP. Oh, man. So how's it going, boys? Joe, I'm going to guess it must be going pretty well up there.
Yeah, we just down there. I'm actually down in North Carolina.
Well, you're up in the corner.
In the corner, right?
Yeah.
I'm down in North Carolina. I actually spent the night outside of Richmond, Virginia. So I don't know how close to Ziggy that is, but I was gonna say Ziggy, stop one up.
Did you stay in Ashland?
What's that?
Did you stay in Ashland?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's where we stay when we go down to down south. Yeah. We always stay.
They had like some nice breweries and stuff over there. We had a good time.
Yeah, nice area there. And apparently our viewers did not know this, but when you travel south, you end up in a different time zone. So like
no, that's not. All right, let me explain
that time zone go back. Was it the wrong way too?
All right. Both of you shut your mouths. All right. So what had happened was I woke up and I looked at my cell phone. I'm like, 8 a.m. I feel so refreshed. How is this possible that it's 8 a.m.? And then I was upstairs. I was getting a mimosa, and I'm like, I don't know why I feel so good at 8 a.m. They're like, well, it's technically 9 a.m. But then the clocks went back. I go, oh, that's why. So yes. I didn't think of the whole time, the whole fall back thing or whatever it is.
Your brain was 100% in vacation mode. Your brain was like, I don't care about anything that matters. I'm on vacation.
If it wasn't for my love of our viewers and this podcast, I'd either be sleeping or I would be on the beach with 6 beers in me already. So I am sacrificing part of my vacation for the great people of this podcast.
Wow. I'm sure they're appreciative of it.
I hope so.
I'm sure.
Comment below how appreciative you are.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
And all the comments, no matter what you want to say, please start off with thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Perfect.
Oh, how you doing down there, EP?
I'm doing good. I also, speaking of thanking the viewers and the viewers loving us. US Sports Cards, one of our favorite guys on Twitter. Like, he's on US Sports Cards on Twitter. He's US Sports Cards 1 on eBay. I bought a box, a medium flat rate box of just stacked full of cards in it, and he noticed that it was me, and he included a little bone. He said he appreciated everything that I do, everything, and he included a little graded 9.5 Griffey, like from 2008. So a little freebie there, plus a bunch of these things.
Ooh.
All wrapped up in the packs that they come in. So I got to put a bunch of free packs in there and get that free Griffey card. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And the box is full of a ton of fun stuff. Patrick Raw from Select Certified and just some really, really cool stuff. So good stuff.
Wow. Where's ours, Joe? Like, he doesn't love us.
Did you
How?
Apparently not.
did you buy a medium flat rate box
Well,
from him?
no, but still.
We kind of assumed that you bought them for all of us.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen,
like,
I
bought the box for the channel. All
Right,
three
that's
of
what
us
I
should have
thought.
gotten.
I thought you were
freebies.
expensing it, man.
Yeah.
I will send you guys each one of these. So
Oh,
because you guys can
All
feel
right, we'll put it in the display. I'll put it in my display.
Well,
But they-
yeah, everybody should. What is his eBay handle there again?
US Sports Cards 1.
Okay.
So just
And he has two eBay handles now too.
does he?
Yeah, he's starting a second one up because they have limits on the store, like the upper end store.
wow.
Like the next jump is like way more money and is cheaper for him to do 2 accounts.
Jeez.
He told me that on Twitter this week. Yeah, so go check him out. He has a ton of cards listed and
I think
a lot of our kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And he has like 20 kids he has to feed. So help the guy out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
he's
I
got
will
like 15K
say-
cards listed or something like that right now. Like some
Yeah, he's got a
ridiculous amount.
crazy amount.
Yeah.
I think it's
will
even more than
say-
that. It's like
Is it?
at the limit too, close to 30K maybe. Yeah. Crazy.
We all love U.S. sports cards.
Oh,
Why he hasn't done 8 questions?
right.
Everyone peer pressure him below. After you say thanks, Joe, peer pressure him in the comments below to do
Every
8
comment.
questions. Every comment. I think it would be awesome if we got U.S. sports cards on to do 8 questions because he does something that we dabble in eBay, right? We dabble.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do that.
That's a career. That's a life. So
Yeah.
I'd love to get to know a little bit more about that. Him as a collector.
15K sold, and like you said, Mike, a ton of stuff that we love. 2012 stuff, 2004 stuff, a bunch of stuff. Those are just
2012.
56,660 items. I was wrong about the number. So 56,000 items.
Wow.
And a lot of stuff that
So
we
it's
all love.
60,000, I think, is what he said the limit is.
Right.
And then like they charge you like $300 a month for the store instead of whatever level he's at now. So he's doing.
And a
I
lot of
asked
his
him, like,
stuff
why
is
are you
like-
doing a second one? But yeah, it
a
made
lot of
sense.
his stuff is under $5, right? Like
Yeah.
doesn't he have
Yeah.
a large chunk of
He's
stack sale, slightly better than stack sale cards on
Like
eBay. So yeah, check him out for sure.
There's like a 1981 Topps card Stremski for $2.69. A 1976, like he's got vintage stuff in here too, and it's like all of it's really good prices. So yeah, I mean, we love him. We interact with him a lot, and we should. I don't feel bad.
And how
shouting him
much
out.
is he paying us for this promotion?
For
like,
promotion.
Apparently, a medium
Apparently
flat rate box.
Apparently, I paid him. to do
Right.
this.
Really, yeah. But we didn't even get anything out of it. Wow.
We're getting one card. I don't know
I'm
what's
gonna edit
happening here.
all of this out. Nobody's
Yes.
ever gonna hear it.
No one comment. Just put thanks, Joe. None of this 8 questions stuff.
Well, talking about stack sales, I've been running a football stack sale. I did a baseball stack sale. I'm doing a football one currently. It'll be over. Well, kind of not over. I was gonna do last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I looked around at the pile of cards I had. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do some more. I don't know if I might just do.
It's gone
couple-
to the Super Bowl, folks.
No, I don't have that many, but I do have a lot, and I do want to get some cards out there. And channel watcher supreme, what is he? Our number one super fan, Scott
Gotta be our
Spalding.
number one super.
Oh
fan.
man, he is claiming away. Unless his wife is watching, then no, nothing.
He hasn't played a single card.
No, not at all. So, yeah, but the interesting story I wanted to share about this. Let me see if I can pull this out here. I have my old stack sale board here that I use.
There you go.
Look at that. And you might notice here.
Those look like
I'll
dogs.
show you on the back. There's a little bit of damage. You can't hear me because I'm holding it up in front of the microphone. But yeah, a little bit of damage to the board. I'll share the story. You want to hear the story?
Yeah,
Oh yes,
definitely
Most
want to hear the
definitely.
story.
Let me
Well,
get some popcorn.
apparently I had this behind me here the other day, and I was working on cards to get ready for the sale. And you see me moving around in my chair here, right? I'm on wheels here. I have a little bit of a pad underneath me here to move around on. Well, something I did not realize might happen is if I lean forward really far on the chair to try to look at cards that are underneath me here, the chair might roll out behind me.
Because it's top heavy.
Yeah,
It's
so
front heavy.
I was leaning forward and the chair ran right out behind me. I fell right on my ass, and the chair wrecked into the stack of sale board. Oh,
you know what we call that? That's a game used stack sale board.
It is.
It is. There is a specific game or event that stack sale board.
And I am
associated
tough with 2 Fs. I got right back up. I no-sold the whole thing. I actually laughed to myself. To nobody.
To nobody. I can see Mike already like looking around. Did anyone see this? Did anyone see this?
If I would have had the cameras rolling, wow, what a video that would have been. But yeah. And then I almost did it again. So lesson learned, don't lean forward here on the chair. It's not a good idea.
So what was your reaction?
Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
My
what was your reaction the second time? When you almost did it the second time, what was your reaction to yourself?
You know how like you kind of like yell at yourself, like you're like, what are you doing? Like,
right.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like the first one caught me off guard. If it happened again, yeah, all my fault. So I got to be more careful, especially at my advanced age here, because you know, if I'm out of action, what are you guys going to do? Like, you're going to be unemployed. You're going to be, you know, getting your.
I won't be able to have these vacations.
Is anybody old enough to remember orange cheese?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I really dated myself with that. Yeah. They used to give out government.
Yeah,
cheese.
Government cheese.
They used to come in the boxes that are up here. That box right there.
Fantastic.
Box. Yeah.
That's where the cheese boxes everybody likes to put their cards like came from. Yep. So yeah, that was my story for the week. So
if things would have gone worse, this episode of the pod would have been us interviewing new hosts. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get into it. That's enough going on for this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Geoff Wilson, sports card investor, had a little video he put out at the beginning of the week that everybody had a response video to. So of course we're going to jump on and give our 2 cents, because I think we come at it from a different direction than a lot of people. So I want to talk about this though with you guys. He had a video called Market Dropping Time to Panic. First of all, like the script that was written for it and him reading it, like I don't know why he can't just be more normal. Natural. Like, I don't know. I don't feel, like it didn't have to be a script. Like his stuff where he's just doing his interviews and stuff is so much better than the scripted stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Basically just talking about how the market is down and how a lot of the cards that used to be worth a lot of money really aren't worth a lot of money anymore. And we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about it in our group text, like long before we even started the channel. Like the bubble's going to burst, whether you want to call it burst, like deflating a little bit, things going back to normal, whatever. Like what was happening was never going to continue to happen. But it's really kind of funny when the people who tried to make you think it was going to continue to happen are like changing course. Like most of us involved in the hobby have seen this happen before. Every time there's a peak, it comes down. There's a valley after. Like this is nothing new. And let's be real, there was a lot of money being thrown around. None of that was sustainable. People throwing money at really like when you were throwing money at your Kevin Moss cards back in 1988, you were throwing like maybe $1 or $2 per card at them. You know, you weren't spending $5, $10, $100,000 on a card. Like that's really my thing. Like you're gonna lose a lot of people, first of all, from the hobby, because there isn't easy money to be made. Those people weren't really ever part of the hobby to begin with. They were people that were just coming in to make the money off of it. But I don't know. I'll let you start on it, EP. What are your initial reactions to the whole vibe of the market is crashing? Are we supposed to panic?
Well, first I'm going to say I don't watch any videos that start with that have the headline "Time to Panic." The market is crashing, because it's just completely.
Let me interrupt you. I do want to clarify too that actual tone of his video ended up not being like he did
Okay.
explain.
Oh, it was
Well, that's
clickbait.
good.
It was
Yeah,
such a
it
clickbait.
is
That makes it even
clickbait.
worse, in my opinion.
And like, you know, the natural of like this time of year, it always goes down, but like still you're throwing that out there. But go ahead, Ethan.
Right.
Sorry to
Yeah. That's fine. That's not my not my bag. And also, like, and I feel like people capitalize on that, and I think it's terrible. Well, so here's my thinking. I feel like there are moments that change the economy in like the real economy, like the Great Depression and World War II, and then, you know, then there's the big boom and all that sort of stuff. And that I feel like the card this is what happens in cards. They shoot up and then they come down and they end up resting just above where they were before they shoot up, and that is a way that the entire card market just continues to climb. And it's a natural, normal thing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So, as you said, Mike, yes, prices are going to fall, and at least me and Mike, the stuff that the junk wax stuff that we buy, they're still $1. They're still 50 cents. They will probably always be $1.50 until forever. In 2025, if or in 2225, if the cards still exist, those cards are probably still going to be 50 cents or $1, right? Because
Yeah,
they just always are.
Yeah, perfect price.
Yeah.
Except for during the pandemic, where those 50 cents or $1 got sent off to PSA, got graded a 10, and then people were selling them for $500. So I feel like this is one time I really wish I was home, because I could pull my notes of Geoff's last video of, oh my God, the sky is falling, and just kind of compare and contrast what I thought of that compared to this.
Was that the market has hit the bottom video, and
the market has hit the bottom
far further down?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he showed the market mover thing, like he showed the graph, but he didn't show a true graph. He started it in September of last year and only went to February of this past year. And I'm like, no, but the market's still below. Like, if you look at February to February, the market's still below that. Like, the market just shifted down. Like, it went down. It's kind of going back up, but the actual start and end are different. They're shifted. I guess it'd be this way for the viewers, but you know what I mean? Like, where he had it at the high the last time it's down here now this time, if that makes sense. Yeah. So sure, there is, it's an uptick. Yeah, sure, it's an uptick, but the uptick is still not landing at the high from the previous year, that I'm sure is not landing from the high of that previous year and that previous year and that. So the graph just keeps shifting its way down. So sure, yes, there are upticks, but we're not landing at the same spot that we were a year ago. We're landing at the same graph look, right? The graph will look the same, but the prices of that graph are shifted down. So that's a big problem. And I really enjoy when Chris Sewell does his, top 10 eBay sales or top 10, auction sales. And he'll do like a Brock Purdy card for like $20,000. And he says, the what could possibly go wrong division. I mean, like, it's so true. Like, people that are spending money on these young players, they're going to be losing a lot of money. Kenny Pickett, even though he's a gamer and a winner, his cards are still going down, right? Brock Purdy's are going down. Fields are going down. You have all these high priced, like the market, the players that people look at to see how healthy the market is, they're all going down.
And like, again, we talk about it all the time. They were way too high to begin with. Like, we are collectors more than investors. Like, it drives me crazy too that like Geoff, even with all he's tried to do to change his content, in this video kept talking about investing. Everything was investing. Like, that's part of the problem. If you're looking at it solely to try to make money, you have to understand what the value should be when you're purchasing it. Like there are way too many cards out there that are worth way too much. 3-4 years ago, if you had a gold numbered out of 10, they didn't have like 20 other parallels that were right around there, and they do now. And this is the thing, we talk about it all the time. Like, the manufactured scarcity isn't going to hold up over time because they have too much of it. Like, you have all the stuff like the PMGs and stuff from the 90s. There are only 100 of those cards. There are only 50 of a card. Now you have all these other options. And I'm telling you, over time, nobody's going to give a damn between this one with kind of the circles in the background or one with a different kind of pattern in the background. Like, they're just not. Like, if you can't see it, you're blind. But this stuff, it's not worth what people are paying for it. I'm sorry. Just because you pulled that autograph card numbered to 10 doesn't mean it's a $25,000 card. Or just because you took a card that might have been a $500 card and you sent it to a grading company and they sent it back and it was a 10, it's not a $5,000 card now. But
right.
This, like, these remnants of the hobby back when it was hot, back when everybody was throwing money, making you think these were great investments at the time, like, those people are leaving now. They're not there to buy this stuff, but some of the business practices and the mindsets of those people are still there, but they don't have the market to sustain what they're thinking. Does that make sense to anybody? Go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. I had an epiphany on the earlier this week, and this is probably something we could do as like a topic maybe for one of our Wednesday shows at some point. But like, if you're going to invest, don't invest in a Panini one of 500 Panini 101s. You're going to invest in vintage, and that's going to solely increase in value, and it's not really going to go down in value. That is what in my investing. If you're buying the 101s, that's flipping. That there's 100% different thing. You know, that is
it. Yep.
Yeah, that
exactly
is
right.
that's the difference there. If you want to invest in cards, buy some like the old school Mickey Mantles or something like that are going to appreciate in value. Like they're almost no chance that they're going to go down in value at some point, especially some of the higher end stuff. Like that is something to invest in. Ultra modern is not something to invest in. Have fun with it. If flipping might be a fun thing for you, a fun part of your hobby, and that is, please go ahead and do it. But don't feel like you're investing like you're like that's a different animal. I feel like.
And there are some flippers who flip to buy stuff for their PC. I'm cool with that. I mean,
yes,
if that's how you want to do it, to buy stuff for you, that's cool. But like, yeah, exactly what you were saying, EP. Geoff Wilson is talking about flippers. He's not talking about long-term investors. Long-term investors are looking at, I mean, is Tom Brady the most recent potential into that bucket of long-term investors? Even he has a lot of cards. So like, I don't know. It's really difficult to take him seriously when I don't think he sometimes knows the terms that he's using, and he's using them out of context. I will say I am at least kind of proud of him that he brought up his own losses, investing hard into Desmond Ridder. Who could have thought that would be a bad idea, other than literally anyone who's seen Desmond Ridder play? But like that cracked me up. The one comment I do want to make before I forget is that I was really annoyed because I know I've said this in the past. Like I hate those videos of people who like the Roth cards, who I enjoy his silly content, but like the people like that who go to card shows and like take a selfie or a self video or whatever. Look at all these people here. I thought the market was dying. I thought the market was dead. Look at how many people are here. Geoff Wilson does that too. Like, look how great look how great the hobby is. Nothing could ever go wrong. Look how many people are at this card show. Now Geoff Wilson is at least saying what I was saying a while ago. It doesn't matter how many people are there. It matters how much money is being exchanged to talk about the financial health of the hobby. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's 10,000 people there. If those 10,000 people are spending a total of $50, I don't give a shit how many people are at this card show. You know, it doesn't make as big of a financial impact as you think it does. So finally, him waking up to that was refreshing.
Yeah, and you know, when you want to talk about investing, like Joe, the house that you're in there on vacation, you told me came from what?
Amazon money.
Amazon money. So
yeah, she bought Amazon stock before it was Amazon. Like
exactly.
she it's a fun story. I got to tell it. Takes 30 seconds. She just had her second child, and she was just a busy mom trying to literally go put herself through engineering school and take care of these two kids. There was this service that she found, and she was like, oh my God, I can have diapers delivered to my house. This is the greatest company ever. And she looked into it, and she's like, I'm going to buy stock into the company that just bought that company, because Amazon was going around buying these smaller delivery type companies. She put stock in that company, turned into the greatest decision ever made, and she can afford $1 million beach house because she did that. That's actual investment.
Yeah. And she didn't buy it thinking, you know what, I'm going to buy this now, and next week I'm going to be able to buy $1 million beach house. Like that, like, come on with the investing crap. What you're doing is not investing. Like you said, it is flipping, because these people aren't investing long term. They want to make a quick buck. And we talk about it all the time. During the pandemic, you could make money really easily. You could send a 1990 hoops Michael Jordan into PSA that you spent 50 cents for. It'll come back at 10, and you're going to sell it for $500 when that card was never worth $500. There was a lot of stupid money that never should have been paid that was being paid because everybody had all the money that was being given out from the government. And, you know, it wasn't investing. It was never investing. It was flipping and making a quick buck. And like I've said a million times, those people are gone. Those people that come into a hobby or any kind of industry and make money off it quickly, they make their money and get out. And you should have seen it coming at the time. That's why people aren't able to sell their $300,000 cards, their $100,000 cards, because the people to buy them aren't here. That's like, it bothers me though that it has to be investing, because during this boom, so many new collectors that were collectors before have gotten into this. That's why you see so many people at the card shows. But like, oh, well, they're not buying. Yeah, they are, but they're buying $3 cards or $10 cards. They're not buying $10,000 cards, because those people are few and far between anymore. And like the tone of these kind of videos, even throwing that out there, bothers me, because like you're just talking about the upper end. Everybody talks about the high dollar cards, like that's the card market. Yeah. Dollar wise it is, but when we have so many more collectors, there's something here left to build on. We just need the people with 250,000 subscribers to start doing the right kind of content. We need the companies that are involved to start putting out the right kind of products to be able to cultivate that collector base that's out there now. Instead of everything having to be the, oh, you can pull $100,000 card out of this product. Why don't you do something that maybe doesn't cost as much, but people can get cool stuff? Like, just cultivate the number of collectors we have in the hobby. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing. I don't care.
Don't worry though, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, don't worry though, Mike. Geoff Wilson did tell us to invest in what we love and buy what we love. Thank God he's come around to talk about that.
Invest in what you love. He didn't even say collect what you love. That was the line that really just went right through me. It's like, come on, Geoff.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to play both sides right now, and you're like, this video was definitely for the people who watch his stuff for investing, not collecting. So he used that word all the time. Don't invest in what you love. Collect what you love. Collect.
I feel like that's like the craziest thing, right? Like, it's so unrealistic to think that our hobby has all these things that are worth $10,000, $100,000 when there are just pieces of cardboard. Like that's the craziest, the mindset of some people. And one of the issues is that a lot of the people, like you said, Mike, a lot of the people that are talking about it on the internet are talking about these, oh, my $30,000 LeBron James card, this and that. Like, a lot of people, there's a lot of voices that are talking about that kind of stuff, and not as many voices that are talking about the stuff that we talk about, which I think the three of us are representative of most of the collectors in the collecting universe. Like that, I really think that's the case. And it is frustrating. I wish we had more voices like this. And I agree, Mike, like, Top Fanatics is not going to 10x the hobby by putting more $100,000 cards in their product. They're going to 10x the hobby by getting more people like us who are in it for the love of what we're doing. That's how you 10x the hobby. That's how you make the hobby better. I agree with 100%, Mike.
Well, hey, at least at the very end, he got to show his products that he's selling.
Yeah.
So thank God that at the very end of this video that it turned into a commercial for Market Movers. Thank God we know about this service, that he can scare everyone into being worried about prices, right? And then he said, this is a great time to buy. And the best tool you can use to buy is market movers. I'm not going to make Mike do the work of bleeping what I'm about to say, so I won't say it. But I used a word that starts with F and ends in D and has Rod in the middle of it to call out Jeff Wilson. So I'm just saying for him to determine what we should be buying, and then for him to say we should be scared, but we can use his service to like help guide us financially through it. I'm sorry. I mean, that is sleazy snake oil salesman if I've ever seen it. Call me wrong if you want to. Bleep that whole segment if you want to, Mike. But I'm sorry.
No,
it's true.
I won't.
Mike, should we consult with the solicitor, Mike's Trading Card solicitor, the hobby lawyer? Should we consult with him and make sure everything's going to be okay?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
I got everything cleared before we started the podcast.
Okay,
Right.
thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I could totally see him walking into town with his leather trunk and opening it up and setting up for shop. Like that was gross at the end of the video. Like it just really was. Plus he threw the free app out first before the market movers to make it seem less. But yeah, it was whatever. It's gross. But like one of the problems too is like who is there to collect anymore? You know, the people put so much money into certain players that those are the only players now that can be worth money. Because guess what? If you're buying prospects, baseball prospects, quarterbacks in football, and you're spending a ton of money and they don't work out and you're rinsing and repeating, that cycle can only continue for so long. And really, who has been the guy in the hobby? Like you had Shohei Ohtani this year, but he's been popular for a number of years now. Mm-hmm. And then he got hurt and like nobody fills in. Like it's a weird thing. I don't know how to really say it, but so much money are tied up in the Justin Herberts of the world and the Shohei Ohtanis, like in so few players that I feel like they're the only players that are almost allowed to retain value. Mm-hmm. Like Juan Soto is a great example. I'm not a baseball guy, but he had a great year, but like people already moved on from him and they're on to other players. So he can't be worth anything when really he should be worth more. Like, but it doesn't work that way. And like the quarterback classes, we talk about 1999. Look at 1999, and we're seeing it repeated over and over again. I don't see any of the, no offense to Kenny Pickett.
Oh no,
I don't see any of the quarterbacks that have come out in the last couple since the 2020 class that really look like
Trevor Lawrence is probably it. Trevor Lawrence is probably
he's not really even showing that he's going to take that.
He has regressed. He has definitely regressed. I will say I was doing a little like just a thought exercise on like what years of quarterback classes are most reminiscent of 1999. 2021 is probably the closest because you have like, I think Trevor Lawrence is kind of like the Donovan McNabb. They'll have good NFL careers, but they're never going to be a guy who can raise an entire draft class up, right? Mm-hmm. I think that is probably the closest. I think 2011, if you guys remember that draft, you had Cam Newton, but then Blaine Gabbert, Jake Locker, Christian Ponder, like that class is very similar too. So you're going to get these every so often. You have to hope there is a class with Joe Burrow. Like I don't. Justin Herbert has won like what 2 games this year. He's supposed to be like you can only blame your coach so often before you realize, oh wait, he's just not winning games himself. Like like how he has the Teflon that he has is beyond me. Brock
because
Purdy's
everybody
lost
has all
3
their
games
money
in a row. Yes.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's starting to
has
look
lost
like
3
a
games in a row.
7th round draft pick. Yeah.
He really is, because guess what? When you lose one of your best receivers and you lose possibly the best left tackle in football and you're not above average NFL talent, it starts to show pretty quickly.
And your defense isn't playing at anywhere near the level it had been in the past.
Right.
Like it's funny how easy it is for some guys to play quarterback on a team where they have talent around them on offense and they have a really good defense.
And I'll kick it to EP after I make this point though. And there is some Kenny Pickett homerism in this for sure.
No.
But you swap Pickett and Purdy and their teams. Mm-hmm. Tell me Pickett wouldn't be looked at statistically and in the hobby as high as Purdy would be if they switched and Purdy had to deal with the Steelers offensive line, Steelers lack of weapons until Deontay Johnson came back. I like no running game whatsoever. Like Purdy has Christian McCaffrey. Let's calm down. Like if you switch their teams or any other quarterback of that ilk, switch them with the San Francisco 49ers, you can't tell me they wouldn't be better quarterbacks statistically and win-loss, right?
Yeah.
Who's I can't remember his name. Who's the quarterback for the 49ers drafted a couple years ago?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. Could you imagine if Trey Lance was doing what Brock Purdy's doing right now? We'd be talking about him like the next Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like it's wild to think about because Purdy. I mean, Purdy has not been lights out, but he's winning games and he's playing pretty well. And I feel like if he had better draft capital, we'd be talking about him very differently than we talk about right now, which is that's just a bit of an aside. I think one of the issues with this the collecting funnel, especially in football, is that it is just quarterbacks. Occasionally you'll get like a Jamar Chase, or you get a Micah Parsons. You get some of these players like here and there that people will collect, but even they kind of probably die down after their huge season or their rookie season. And so it's just quarterbacks. And there are so many players in the NFL and so many cards in a lot of these sets that are not quarterbacks that I feel like that funnel makes it really amplifies the collecting the very, very like thin number of cards that people collect. Like, and Justin Herbert again has not done anything, but he's still got all these cards that are so expensive. And I think that really really
that's why I think their
funnel is crazy.
That's why there's more basketball collectors, I think, right? Because there are more collectible players per team, where in the NFL there's 32 potentially best case scenario 32 collectible players because of each of the starting quarterbacks. With basketball, you could have 3 or 4 on the same team that are doing well and their cards are bouncing up, right?
Yeah, but even in basketball, though, typically like the number one guy is the guy that really drives the markets quite a bit. Some teams might have a second guy who's kind of okay, but I feel like a lot of, even in the NBA, it's like just that one player. And I think MLB's is kind of the same way, where like the top player on that team is going to draw all of the attention. So it's.
Do you think that's why Trout cards have come down?
I mean, Trout he's tailed off in his production quite a bit, and I mean, Ohtani's got all the spotlight on him for sure. But Trout's production, injury, he got hurt his back, and that really has like kind of like kept him from, being this elite player that he was. He's still, in my opinion, a lock for the Hall of Fame and everything like that. But typically that one player, even so, as much as I say football, that one player really drives a lot of the market for a lot of sports.
I think it's crazy too. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I watched all the Phillies games, and watching Bryce Harper hit a baseball, like, I don't think there is anything I've ever seen in baseball like watching him hit a baseball in a big spot. Like he was made to play baseball, clearly, like from the time he was a kid, but like he doesn't even get any hobby love, and like he's playing in a great city for baseball. And doing great things in the postseason, and still people don't care. Like, I want to transition this into saying, like, you just watched the World Series. I didn't get to watch any of the games to that. I did watch all the National League playoff games the Phillies were in and stuff, though. So I got to see a lot of the Diamondbacks play, and, they have some fantastic young players. Corbin Carroll, like, that dude is like crazy. Like, he can do it all. I don't know if they consider him what's called a 5-tool player. I don't even know if that's a thing in like the world of all the analytics in baseball. But watching him play, he's fantastic. Marte, what's his first name?
Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte. Like, dude just hits baseball all the time. Like, fantastic. Like, do you think coming out of the World Series that maybe the performance of some of the young players, I know Josh Jung and who's the other guy, Adolis Garcia,
yeah.
Like those guys were fantastic in the postseason too. Like, do you think it'll make a difference though? Like, are they going to become more collectible than they are now? Are we going to have any new hobby darlings, or is it still going to be everybody that has their money tied up in Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani? Because really, again, that's where all the money is in baseball, right?
Right. And the thing is, though, again, those are the people that have, they're the high end collector. They're not the people like us. And I think there are whenever a team like the Rangers just won their first World Series, and I feel like this is the moment where a lot of Rangers fans are born, and they switch from that team to another team. Again, I don't know if it changes the market, but I feel like there are a lot of people that are going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to start collecting Adolis Garcia because he was awesome in the postseason, the whole postseason, and then he got hurt in the series, but like he was like he was great. Josh Young has had a great season. At one point, he was Rookie of the Year. I'm not sure if he's in the running right now, but Corbin Carroll is definitely in the running for the Rookie of the Year. And again, I was surprised at his power. Everybody talked about his speed, but he put up some decent power. Like he's probably the Rookie of the Year in the NL. And I'm really like, I love this. I love this World Series for the collectability and for what it might mean for the hobby, even though I don't think it's going to move the market that awful much. And the World Series was really not watched by a lot of people. So a lot of people weren't super excited about it, which is kind of
I didn't know it was over. And I usually kind of know when that stuff, I'm like, oh, the World Series is over.
Right. It was again, Rangers are not a super popular team. The Diamondbacks are okay. They've won a couple of World Series, but the Rangers were, I think, one of like 8 teams or 7 teams that had not yet won a World Series. So for them to win it again, there are already Rangers fans out there, but there's going to be a few more now after watching this and getting excited about the season. But I don't think it really pushes the market up super high. I don't think a Adolis Garcia card is going to start selling for $100,000 next year before the season starts. They might sell for 100 where they were selling for 80 before or something like that. But so a little bit of a bump. But I think it's anytime the World Series happens, especially a new team, good and a lot of new players, it's good for the hobby, in my opinion.
And Corbin Carroll, like, unfortunately, like, I feel like he's not the kind of player that will be the hobby darling because he doesn't hit enough home runs.
Right.
Like, he can just do it all. He's just a great baseball, like a rookie. Mm-hmm. Like, you're watching a rookie at the end of his first season looking like he's one of the best players in baseball.
Right.
But if he doesn't hit 50 home runs, are collectors going to care? Like, again, kind of like quarterbacks in football, like the power numbers and stuff, like Ohtani being able to do both, but he hits a lot of home runs too. Yes. So like if Shohei Ohtani hit 25 to 30 home runs a year, would he be as popular? That's kind of where I'm going there. So like Corbin Carroll's a great baseball player and somebody, as a collector, you should be excited about. Like Cal Ripken never hit a ton of home runs, but he was hugely popular and very collectible. Derek Jeter wasn't a home run hitter too. Like those kind of guys now seem to be overlooked. Like, take some of the best players in Major League Baseball history, some of the most collectible guys, even Ken Griffey Jr., he hit a lot of home runs, but he wasn't in the upper level of that. Like, McGuire's and all the other steroid guys kind of hit more home runs than Griffey did. So like, I feel like collectors limit themselves so much on what somebody has to be valuable that it just doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, it goes back to the quarterback thing. Yeah.
I was trying to say it's confusing to me. Like, so how many games did the Chargers play? I think it's 7 games, maybe. I think they had their bye, right? Let's say Justin Herbert was 7-0, but he averaged a touchdown a game, right? Like he didn't have the stats. Is he more or less collectible in that situation? Like they're 2-5 or 2-4 at this point, I believe. Like, he hasn't, he's put up numbers. It's great for fantasy football, but like he hasn't won games. He's only made the playoffs one time. Chances of them making the playoffs this year are kind of slim. Like, why is he worth more than Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow went to the AFC Championship twice, went to the Super Bowl, almost won it.
And here's the question too. Say your team is down by 6 and you have 1:20 left with one timeout. Do you want Joe Burrow quarterbacking your team or do you want Justin Herbert? There's a clear answer there. And like you wanted Tom Brady, you wanted Peyton Manning, you wanted Drew Brees, you want Patrick Mahomes. Like I've always
want Kenny Pickett.
Those are the guys who are really good quarterbacks. And Justin Herbert is not one of those guys. He's a stat compiler and that's about it.
But you know what? In the hobby, he's Teflon, man. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. People still want his
Teflon
cards.
Justin. Yep.
Like he's even making fun of himself for not having an MVP in the Subway commercials with Patrick Mahomes. Have you
Right.
seen that one? Like they have an
No,
MVP club or something, and they have clips of both of them. He's like, that just means like Subway MVP, right? Like, like I don't have to be an NFL MVP to get this deal. So,
But yeah, that's the problem.
fact that
he's never
but these-
going to win MVP because they never win enough games for him to win
Yeah.
MVP.
But the fact that he is the one they chose to be in that commercial
Yeah.
over like Burrow or the other
Right,
quarterbacks,
right.
you just listed off all these other guys that haven't won, but they chose Justin Herbert because he's Justin Herbert. Like,
Yeah,
well, Subway doesn't have the best track record with hiring.
that's fair.
He's
That's
the
fair.
face of their company. Oh, did you guys see the Bronny James autographs being pulled this week on Twitter?
I didn't see him being pulled, but I heard of them.
They're in the new Topps Chrome McDonald's. One we talked about, we thought was coming out last year, but apparently it meant this year. But I swear they're coming out like one every other box. Like I've seen so many
With
of
the
them
autos?
like everybody
Really?
seems to have one. Yeah.
Jesus.
And like Twitter accounts of people who I trust that aren't just getting the card or opening two cases and going, oh, look, I opened a box and got it, But I've seen so many people too, like talking about what do you do? Like you sell that card. Like
Yeah.
if there was ever a card you needed to sell right away, it's his. Like no offense to him, but he's not that big of an NBA prospect. He's never going to be his dad. Like nobody will. Like pretty much everybody who ever plays basketball again won't be his dad.
Right.
Like, but it's a cool card. And like the whole story with everything with him is really cool. But yeah, if you're speaking about monetary, get rid of it right away.
It's same thing with Deion's kid, right? Like Deion's kid is a great college quarterback. He's entertaining. He's probably not going to be a high pro draft pick. I mean, if you pull some of his, I don't know how they're doing now after they start off hot, but like that's another one. There are certain situations where you say they let you buy them back, right? In 5 years, 10 years, if you want a Bronny auto, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're going to pay less for it then than you would have sold it for now. So, I mean, like, there's no point in not taking the profit. It's irresponsible to not take the profit and then put a little Post-it note on your computer. When these go down, buy one. Like, just smarter that way.
I have no further. I have no comment that can further that. That was perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say. But I mean, I do think as a collector in this time in the universe, that is a card you probably would do want to go back and get. And I mean, again, it's going to be super cheap at that point. But it does feel like a collectible that is from a time in the hobby that would be kind of a cool one to own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
one more point on that, Mike.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say in 5 years when we're still doing our Friday show of 3 cards you should add to your PC, maybe Bronny's auto will make that list because it has gone down in price so much that we feel comfortable suggesting that people add that moment in time to their 3 cards collection.
I think the three of us hope that he ends up being the following in his dad's footsteps for sure. Just it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case at this point, right? We don't get. We wish bad things.
Come on, if we are anything, we are excellent NBA talent evaluators.
Yes.
No, we are not.
Yeah.
What? We are. We watch so much basketball.
Yeah.
I was playing basketball yesterday.
That's
literally
Steph Curry kid. That Steph Curry kid, I think, could do stuff.
He could be something.
He could be something. I don't know. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah, you are.
Good job.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So earlier, EP, you shilled for U.S. sports cards on eBay there. He sells a lot of cards. You sell a lot of cards. I sell some cards. We use eBay standard envelope.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see eBay is now offering an eBay standard envelope kit? You get 100 envelopes and like they have 3 pocket protectors with like cardboard on it. Looks like it's made to send cards just in a soft sleeve, like not in a top load or even a card saver.
Mm-hmm.
$41 plus shipping for 100 of those. I like that they're trying to give people an option for what they can use for that, but there's no way you can spend 50 cents per envelope on cards you're selling for like a couple bucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the low end still nobody that sells low end is going to use these at all. Like I like the fact that they put a piece of cardboard in there. So the cardboard, then the paper, we put the cards in there. Like you're not going to have room for any top loaders or anything like that. You said because because it's going to be end up being too thick. So and I would rather send a card on a top loader and use my 7 cents per envelopes that I get for like a 300 of them for $20 or whatever I pay. And this seems like, I'm not sure. I've never bought any of eBay's shipping products. But this one makes me think: are they all over? Like, it seems extremely overpriced, in my opinion, and not exactly something that's going to be helpful to a lot of at least lower end sellers. I mean, I'm sure about the mid or higher end people on that the eBay standard envelope. But for me, like this is 100% no go for me.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, as you described it, Mike, you described it as something used for cards under $2, but the cost of it is for cards around $20, right? Like that's kind of how it feels. Like, are they going to reimburse someone if a card gets damaged in their eBay standard envelope mailing envelope if there's no top loader? Like, I can't imagine I couldn't imagine feeling comfortable putting a card without a top loader, maybe just a soft sleeve, sending it off in an eBay standard envelope and not getting complaints from buyers, considering what we see on Twitter and social media, how people complain about how a card has been shipped. Like, there's no way there aren't going to be complaints over this. So I guess my original point, is there some sort of guarantee by eBay that if you use these and a card gets damaged, they're going to insure it, or if they're going to reimburse
it should still be covered in the insurance.
Should be, I guess it would be so.
I think the main draw, I think what they're trying to do is to give them an option to send multiple cards. Like, you can send at least 3, and it even said up to 24 cards. I would have to think those would be like Pokemon cards, maybe. Maybe it's geared more toward that.
The advertisement does have Pokemon cards in it, and I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Like I'm making like 40 cents a card, if that, like 30 cents a card after shipping and all the fees and everything like that. So to add all that extra price in the per shipping is a lot. But
But the problem is the insurance only goes up to $20, right? Like the insurance on eBay standard envelope insurance is only $20. So if you're going to put 24 Pokemon cards, are you telling me it's like, I guess, 24 cards that are worth 75 cents each? Like 3 cards sounds great, but at a certain point, you have to realize you're going to get maxed out on the insurance to the point where eBay won't even allow you to use an eBay standard envelope. They will not give that an option on the shipping. Yeah. So that's tough. I mean, I'm sure there is. I'd love to hear from US Sports Cards. Comment below. Would you use these? I'm curious on how people will actually in the real world use these things. I don't have a situation where I would. I've sent multiple cards, but I don't see a situation where I would feel comfortable sending them without a top loader or something.
Yeah. And like one chromium card is probably the thickness of like 4 Pokemon cards.
That's
alone.
true. Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's a great option for anybody selling sports cards. Well, did you guys see that PSA is kind of doing a 12 weeks of Christmas thing? They are offering a different grading special every week for the next 12 weeks through the end of the year. Actually, if you go to the website, it's kind of funny. They have like different images there, kind of like a reveal thing. And when it's available, you can hit the button and see what the special is. I like that they're having a little bit of fun with it. And, the first special was like express grading for like $99, really not my world there. But I do think it's kind of cool that they're doing a new special every week. Like, I haven't graded cards for a while. I have to re-up my membership too, but I have a bunch. I'm waiting for the right deal to come along. So hopefully that'll come along at some point there. Like I'm a little more excited about only having to wait a week than having to wait a month, because I've been waiting since the summer for another deal that I can grade the cards I want to grade.
Is that deal only available for that week then, Mike? Or is it available all the way through?
Yeah, I think it's just for the week.
because that when you told us about this before we started recording, I was thinking, Jesus, you better be quick. Because if they open it up on Monday without giving you any advance notice of what the actual special is, you've got to be willing to that night start pulling your cards, because I don't know what everyone else's process is, but I know, especially EP, you're very meticulous with yours. I mean, you're going to use every minute of that time that they give you to make sure those are the right cards to send out. So that could be tough. I like the idea of how they're doing it, like the 12 weeks of Christmas and it's kind of a surprise, opening up a Christmas present kind of thing. I like that idea. But then to only have a week and not know ahead of time what you're supposed to be looking for and pulling could be an issue. You might miss out on it.
Right, it's an issue, but it's also like it's going to be limiting. Like, they're not giving people a month to send in 4 weeks
That's
worth
true.
of cards.
That's a good point, actually.
So it might, that might be.
It says on the website most deals are active for just a few days and go dark when the next one drops. So
okay, interesting.
It does seem like you have to go very quickly.
Right.
I'm a sucker for some of this kind of stuff, actually. Remember, all three of us were kind of excited about the HGA. I never got into it when they were doing like the lottery, like to get.
That was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So
like,
fun.
So like,
but you got 30 days. You got 30 days once you won that lottery to send the cards.
Right, but the lottery was weekly, so that's a similar thing to me. Where like we got this thing to look forward to every week, and then if it's something we like, then we can maybe scramble to try to do something. I think this is probably for a lot of people like Mike who have cards on the ready. Like, this is going to benefit them very much so. And like for me, I have a handful of cards that I've set aside. So like, this is a good thing for me too, where I might wait and see about sending, even though I said, last week or something like that I would only do a lot of more grading with SGC. Like, if that's the right deal, I might have to think about going with PSA for some of the cards for sure.
Do you think there's any chance they're going to give me like a $10 wrestling card special? Come on, do it.
Wrestling cards are the only one on the index that are actually going up. So they'd be stupid not to do a deal for wrestling. What is it? Wrestling is maybe UFC, but there's like 2 cards on the index where the values of those cards have actually increased year to date. Everything else has fallen. So if they don't take advantage of that somehow, they're missing out, because I think a lot of wrestling folks would love to have their cards graded, and I've probably been waiting for some sort of special.
It'd be great to have a special just for that too. Cause like the problem is like, I have a lot of wrestling cards, but if I like, the reason I didn't send it in a special before, because it was sports cards too. I'm like, oh God, they're going to get overwhelmed with this. And like, because they have it in the sports card section. So like, as a wrestling card collector, having specific cards I want to send in, like, and I'd like to send them on their own order. Like, it would be nice to have a special where it was just like wrestling and MMA, but I don't know. It gets like overwhelming though when you do it with sports, because everybody has all their brand new whatever they ripped open and they want to send those in. So
I feel like it's one of the things that's interesting about this is that they do have this flexibility as far as like what they can do, weird and cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they throw out there. Like if they have a wrestling special, or if they do something like really, really, really weird, like this is an opportunity for them to do it. I wonder what their grading levels have been for like November, December previously. If maybe that's a little bit of a down time for them, and they're like, you know what, let's see if we can make sure we get enough cards coming in. So.
Bad thought. That's not a bad thought.
Well, we will find out soon. But what I do know is what the October numbers were.
Look at that smooth transition.
That was good. That was real. Thank you, EP.
Little set up. It's like Goose. It's like Goose and Maverick out here.
Alley-oop, and I'm just, I'm not on my best day. But the October grading numbers are out. PSA 1.2 million. Go figure. Interesting. CGC 272,000 cards. We'll get into that a little bit later here. SGC 129,000. Wow. That's impressive, because they're not a big company. They're really not. And Beckett had 75,000. Like, Beckett is back in the game a little bit.
Again, that's why their customer service does not freaking get back to me. Because they
okay, Joe, this is not about you.
This is very much about me. Thank me in the comments. But the SGC number, you know what the craziest thing about the SGC number is? they're still getting cards back at breakneck speeds. Like you send something in, you're getting it back in a week. Like, and
for 129,000 cards,
129,000 cards, crazy.
The breakdown, PSA did 644K on sports and 556 on trading card games. Again, a lot of trading card games. SGC did 112,000 sports and 17K for the trading card games. They're running a special on that. So seems to be working for them. Beckett had 35K sports and 39K trading card game. Here's the big one. CGC only did 17,000 sports cards, but they did apparently 235,000 trading card games.
That doesn't add up, does it? Does that add up?
I'm sorry, 255,000.
Jeez.
I was wrong. And
that's non-sports and trading card game, right?
Non-sports and trading card, but that sector, it's a majority of trading card games.
Yeah.
And if you look at the yearly breakdown, 27% of that 255,000 was trading card games from 2000 to 2009, and 21% were from the 90s. I have to give credit to Neo here because he did a little speculating, and on the PWCC site, they were actually selling a Pokemon repack with 10 graded CGC cards. As he noted in his video, they had an alpha version, which had already came out, and that was already sold out. If you do an alpha version, apparently that would lead somebody to believe maybe they're going to do a second series called beta. I don't know. But he was speculating whether or not they they had, I think, 5,000 of those with 10 cards each. So that was 50,000 cards that CGC had graded for them. And he was wondering if maybe there's another series of that coming out. I think he's onto something there. Like, it makes perfect sense to me that they're doing like a repack grading for somebody, because with those 90s and 2000s Pokemon, like it has to be something related to that. So, I mean, props to CGC for finding a way to, increase their business, but it really not indicative of what the average collector is sitting and sending into them.
Also, I just want to throw it out there. Trigger warning to anyone about us talking about repacks in any way, shape, or form. I know how concerned and upset some people get. That's actually a really, really smart point by Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics. You're not going to call someone an alpha without having a beta, right? They're definitely getting these cards. That is mind blowing, though, that they kind of changed how they look and how they grade to be more closer to the sports side, yet it's mostly comic book and trading card game submissions, right? Like the label is more closer to the CSG label. I think they changed the grading a little bit. Not non-sports and TCG people were a little upset with them changing those things. Didn't stop them from, even taking those 50,000 cards out.
Yeah, even if it's lot. Even if they're going to do 100,000 for like the second run, like you still have 155,000. They are doing a lot of grading for the trading card game stuff, and they're pretty well respected in that realm.
Oh yeah,
they obviously nothing sells for what PSA. We know that. Don't need to comment about it, but yeah. So
when
go ahead, EP.
When I first heard about CGC, I was watching a Pokemon reveal of all things, of a grading reveal from CGC, and I was like, I think I kind of liked those labels. Like, I wonder if they do sports cards, and they didn't do them at that time. And so I was impressed at the look of it and everything, and their stuff's pretty nice.
But you do hate the word guarantee.
Well, because they misspell it. Right? Because
it's not misspelled.
This is one of our earliest back and forth fights on our Twitter thread or our text thread. is the back and forth between Mike and EP about the guarantee, the spelling of the
Well,
word guarantee.
That's
This
also
is
when-
who we are.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's also when CSG had those god awful green labels. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was on top of that. They also had
they weren't great. I will
And
say
they were not great.
not great.
That we
And
could all agree.
they were what, this high?
Right.
Even
Right.
though the new ones are the same, they look a lot smaller. So, all right, guys, we'll wrap it up there for this week. I think we had a pretty good chat, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
Back to the beach, boys.
Adios.